everybody. It's time for coffee.
Let's have a coffee chat, Cindy. I'm Jeannie King. This is Cindy Jordan, and we are off to another rockin' about 20 minutes with you.
Yes,
And we love having these conversations, don't we?
we had one yesterday, and in fact, I think we had two of them yesterday. And I was like, Jeannie, we need to be recording this.
I know. And our problem is, you and I are both so ding dong busy, which is fine. But I have to tell you too, Cindy, people look at us and they go, oh, they don't have a problem in the world. Like, get real. And part of it is that here in Central Texas in the Hill Country, we have so much cedar and pollen and pecan and dust. And I have just been unable to breathe. And that happens in the springtime with me. And so anyhow, there was no way I could record anything yesterday. So I got up this morning, I giddy up down to the medical center. They gave me a breathing treatment, threw some steroids in me. So I'm like, I'm good. But the other thing is too, and I don't want to make this a commercial, but, I had some lunch on Tuesday with some of our BNOW women who were at our retreat in San Antonio. And it was so lovely. We just had such a great time. And we got talking about all kinds of things, spiritual things and books. But I also told them that, because one of the women brought up about judgment. And she was saying, because we were talking about A Course in Miracles, and she was like, I realize that I'm always in my judgment. I'm looking at this person, I'm looking at myself, and I'm, whatever. And I said, well, you're in luck. We're going to talk about judgment versus discernment in our next coffee chat. But I also want to tell you too, that part of my recovery is you and I are both taking and spraying liquid and spray glutathione, which is in a nanotechnology with BNOW. And it has made all the difference.
You look beautiful. I'm got that here. And you can actually find us on our website too. We've got the BNOW link to Jeannie. It is
thousands of doctors have, and it starts from the inside out. I started doing it because I'd had COVID, and I just felt so rotten. And when you're not sleeping and you're fatigued, it all comes from the inside, and so it goes to the outside. So thank you.
You look beautiful.
I feel beautiful.
But more than that, I mean, my knee pain is gone, and it took 4 days for me to say, you know what, I feel like I'm in my 40s again.
I know.
I mean,
it's
really.
aging backwards. Yeah, go to beautifulnetworkofwomen.com, scroll down at the bottom, and we have a little discussion about BNOW if you're interested, and you can just reach out to us or whatever. Right. But anyhow, that's not what this is about.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
That's right. So this is so interesting because the other day we were having a discussion, and I follow Jordan Peterson, who is a clinical psychologist out of Canada. And he has these brilliant conversations with people, but he was talking to this one person who was on the other side of the political spectrum from him. And he doesn't care. And we don't care. But what she was saying is that, she was kind of accusing him, and you say this, that, and the other. And he was, that's not what I said. But even if I did, it's okay. And she's like, if you tell people something, it's a difficult conversation. He said, every conversation worth having, if you've got an issue, unless it's just chit chat or small talk, it is going to be a little bit difficult because, you're exchanging ideas, and that's the whole thing. You don't want to shut down ideas. And, I saw something yesterday with Ben Shapiro, and he tweeted this 10 years ago. And he said, facts don't care about your feelings. Facts don't change. You can feel this way about it. And that goes into judgment versus discernment. And, you and I were talking about the fact that when we have a negotiation, not we, but anybody, or we, whatever, But in a negotiation, really at the end of the day, everyone, and for a successful negotiation, everyone goes away from the table just a little unhappy because it's a negotiation. It's just not a gimme. So what is judgment? Judgment is looking at something and saying, that's wrong, that's right, she should do that, he shouldn't have said that, or whatever, or I should have, and all of that. But, when I've talked to people about judgment, sometimes, Cindy, they'll say something like, well, I mean, you have to make a judgment. You don't want to walk out in front of a car. And I went, that's not judgment. That's discernment. Just because I'm on a cliff doesn't mean that I have to jump off. That's not a judgment. It's a discernment, right? And so if we think about that, we think, okay, how do we bring in discernment into our lives? And the one rule that we always have, and you came up with it for our retreats, is no judgment. No judgment of others, no judgment of self. We're not going to have it. And, we just accept people. But in this world where people are so polarized about every issue and about cancel culture, cancel culture is really about, I get to say and do what I want. And if you don't agree with it, I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to make sure that you are canceled off of your show, that people aren't going to buy your products, or, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And that is very harmful, because then the exchange of ideas ceases to exist.
Yes. And that creates a very safe place for our women. We've had people get up and tell stories and testimonies that and one thing that we emphasize is what goes on at the retreats stays at the retreats. We want to create that environment of safety and trust. Trust is huge. It's so fragile too, but it's so huge. And so we've all had those situations where there's an elephant in the room, right?
Well, we've had discussions with our husbands or with business personnel or whatever. Nobody likes to bring it up. But, I have found that it's much better to address it without accusing. So the two words you want to avoid are always and never.
Oh, yeah.
Always do this, or you never do that. Well, that's not true.
No.
That is not true. And one of the things that I learned in owning businesses is a good rule of management is you praise in public and you correct in private.
Absolutely. If you have any class.
Well, one thing, but if you have anything good to say about someone, you say it in public to them, in front of other people. If you have any correction that you need to get from them, you say it in private. And, I did that at the winery and bistro. We had situations where, my staff, some of them, some of them were just excellent and some of them were excellent, but they couldn't get there on time and they, whatever. And, I just made it a point to address it, but not in front of everyone else. Mm-hmm. I would take them to the back office and I would say, look, I really love having you here. People love you. You're good with the people who come in, our clients, you know the wines, the food and all of that. But it's not fair for you to come in 10, 15 minutes late when we've already been here for a half an hour.
Right. Well,
and if it happens again, you won't be here. And they're like, really? And I was like, I'm not joking. I love you, but I'm not going to tolerate it. So it was not a comfortable discussion, but it was the elephant in the living room.
Exactly. And there's a Southern saying that I want to point out because, I came from California and it has to do with judgment. And it's like, it's okay to judge somebody as long as you say, bless her heart.
Bless your heart, bless their heart, right?
Bless her heart. Did you see the shoes she was wearing with that dress?
Bless
her heart. Someone needs to tell her how to
My sister and I laugh about this, but she said that there was a comedian that she saw one time, and she said, well, we women in the South, we don't get mad at our husbands, we're just plotting how to kill them. He says, so I'm going to start a magazine, and it's called Gardens and Guns. So I can be out there pulling the weeds, figuring out which gun I'm going to use. I'm like,
Oh my this brings to mind something that kind of freaked me out. I went to a winery, and I was sitting next to a gentleman, big cowboy hat, and we were talking, just whatever. What do you do? What did you do? Type thing. And he says, I'm an attorney. He says, and I said, really? And what do you specialize in? He says, I get women off for killing their husbands. He says, I've never lost a case, except one did have to go to jail for a little while, but I've never lost a case. Just want you to know that. And I think it was an invitation, like the next sentence would be, so if you want to kill your husband, don't worry.
How happy are you? Right? Well, I'm not that upset. Okay. I thought I just let him cook his own dinner.
That was kind of a weird conversation.
That is a strange conversation.
It was, but the bless your heart thing, right? Because women have a tendency to compete with each other on trivial things like that. Like, did you see, like I saw something on the other day where, did you see her mouth? Did you see what happened when she blew up her lips? They must be flapping in the wind, that kind of thing. And then, bless her heart.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what? We made a distinction too, and the male and the female. So if we have a discussion with someone, it kind of gets heated, and let's just say politics, or but let's just say that, or whatever. But and men can do that too. And they can be upset with one another, and then they'll say, well, let's go get a beer and watch the football game.
Yeah, exactly. They're fine. Right.
We don't do that.
No.
No, we go home and stew about it.
And
we have
call our friends.
And go,
You know
what she said, da da da. And it's just like, what is to be gained from that?
Right.
So here's the discernment that comes in.
Okay.
And it comes from also A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles asks this: would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? Now, being the smart ass that I am, I said, well, when I'm right, I'm happy. Okay. But the problem with that, Cindy, is if you peel that back a little bit, it means that if I don't think I'm right, I can never be happy.
Oh,
and in order for me to be right, someone else has to be wrong. And that's the only way I can be happy. So I have given that up. I don't care about being right. I really don't care. But I was not always that way. I wanted to be, by God, right. And, but it's like, I'd rather be happy every day of the year.
Right. When you get to that place, Jeannie, where you understand that every human being on this planet is actually on a journey, their own individual journey. And they might be a different race. They might be a different religion. They might have a different belief system. They might have a different diet. All of those different things. Viva la différence, as they say. Because if we were all the same, we all dress the same, look the same race, same thoughts, same ideas.
Boring.
We might as well be robots.
Absolutely.
And I think there are robots walking around here right now that all have been designed to be what someone might consider a perfect human being, but they have no free will. And if you don't have free will, you don't have passion.
Abraham Hicks says this about us wanting other people to look like us, think like us, be like us, whatever. And they said it absolutely shuts down creation. Yes. And creative power. Yes. And we've talked about this way back in the day, just thinking about, oh, well, I'm creative, but what if I were creating the world like God did? And I said, okay, Now we're on to pink flowers. How many different kinds of pink flowers? Okay, I'm going to be real extravagant. I think I'll have 6 different kinds. And God says, are you crazy? Let's try 6 million different kinds.
Oh, nice.
Because we limit ourselves.
Yes, we do.
And, it's like saying, okay, God, fill me up. And we got this little tin cup and we're standing at Niagara Falls and God says, what's up with the tin cup? I want you to back in a tanker truck and really fill up and really make a difference in this world. So, it's our invitation today. I think if we have to wrap this up and say, our invitation today is for people to decide, do you want to be right? Do you want to be happy? What is your discernment? Are you going to stay in your judgment all the time? Are you going to decide that it doesn't matter? Today's a good day because I woke up.
Allow them to be who they are and bless yourself. And if you really have a passionate problem with somebody, take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, why is that bothering me so much?
Yeah, why does it trigger me?
Why does it trigger me? Because they're just being themselves.
That's right.
Why does that bother me? So that's an important lesson I learned.
Yeah, it's great. Well, if people want to check us out, we are at beautifulnetworkofwomen.com. We have an upcoming, if you're watching this in 2023 before October, we have an upcoming cruise. October 4th through the 8th through the 14th. And we're going on a beautiful celebrity ship out of Fort Lauderdale. We are actually, this time, we're allowing Y chromosomes to join us. So we're allowing our husbands or boyfriends or significant others. And you can just check it out with the cruise information. It's going to be a blast. We are selling out fast, Cindy, so we can't wait.
It's fun. It's fun. BNOW is fun. And I love you, Jeannie.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Mwah. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.